The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus went to the Mount of Olives, but early in the morning he arrived again in the temple area, and all the people started coming to him, and he sat down and taught them. Then the scribes and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in adultery and made her stand in the middle. They said to him, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the very act of committing adultery. Now in the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. So what do you say?" They said this to test him, so that they could have some charge to bring against him. Jesus bent down and began to write on the ground with his finger. But when they continued asking him, he straightened up and said to them, "Let the one among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." Again he bent down and wrote on the ground. And in response they went away, one by one, beginning with the elders. So he was left alone with the woman before him. Then Jesus straightened up and said to her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" She replied, "No one, sir." Then Jesus said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go, and from now on, do not sin anymore." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Tim O'Brien, he's an author, and he said this: "I had a kid come up to me not that long ago at a book signing and said, 'Yours is the only book I've ever finished.' And his book were stories based on his experiences as a young man. The book is called The Things They Carried. What did the young men bring to Vietnam? You think moving to a college as an 18 or 19-year-old will cause you to simplify your lives? Or later on, moving to a nursing home will simplify your lives? Try being shipped in the late 1960s to Vietnam for a year as an 18 or 19-year-old infantryman. And you'd carry with you the things Uncle Sam would give you, and including weapons of war, self-care supplies, dog tags, and then you carried with you a few things that essentially could just fit in your pocket when you left your home. Maybe a picture of your parents' girlfriend's necklace or letter, maybe a little drawing from one of your small siblings. And also you always carry with you how you were raised. And out of all the things that maybe they left behind in the field of battle sometimes, that was one of the things that did get left behind. How you were raised. Some people left that behind in Vietnam. We're getting ready for Jesus to carry and to take up his cross. And some of us have been absorbing that explicitly by going to our stations of the cross. We'll have one more on Friday in North Auburn. The cross is the anticipated event in the gospel. Even Jesus anticipates it, and he speaks about it to all his friends. The rest of the Gospels, each of the four Gospels, the stories of the Gospels are built around the central event of the cross. It's why he came. It's the main event, historically and spiritually. Jesus carrying the cross. In the Catholic faith, I'm going to suggest to you that we have hand-offs and hand-me-downs. Look in the Gospel today. There's a woman caught in the act of adultery, being handed off to Jesus. And they were thinking that they were going to trick him. You see how the mind of men work? They thought it was just a trick for Jesus. But that's actually what he came for. That's what he wanted, to be handed off to him. What to do with a woman such as this? We're not handed such women women, typically. But maybe we are. But at the least, what has been happening, becoming commonplace, or handed off to us, is the fruits of adultery. Sometimes we end up raising our children's children from the broken relationships. And then there are other types of adulteries and betrayals that get handed off to us that we just have to deal with. Think about this with Jesus' time that he had with us. The only perfect thing that anybody ever gave him, then and today, was something we Catholics still call perfect contrition or humility, sorrow for sins. That's the only perfect thing that anybody ever handed off to Jesus and petitions for help. And usually it's a long, hard road to get to perfect sorrow for anything or request, help me. It usually takes a long path of suffering. But in general, Jesus was like us. He was not handed anything perfect, but all the imperfect things that he was handed and that we're handed in relationships, the hand that we're dealt in life, workplace situations, we have to deal with it. We have to tend to it. We have to make the most of the imperfect. We're like him, like that. And also I'd suggest we're a religion of hand-me-downs. Maybe you're not into your aunts and your uncles and your older siblings' clothes. Usually we like to dump that off at Goodwill or something like that. But check your minds, and your hearts, your desires. When you want to continue with your family, you do want some hand-me-downs. Let's say, for example, mom or grandma's recipes. Didn't you ever find yourself asking for something that was right here with your mom, your grandma, your grandpa, your grandpa? Ask them to pass it along to you, to make it part of your household? And notice, the hand-me-downs are better than anything we could get from anywhere else, if it's coming from our families like that. But the thing is, like with a hand-me-down recipe, not magic. It doesn't work as magic. And the engine to make a recipe work is the human effort and the willingness to get it going. Motors burn out, but the human motors are supposed to keep on going, to keep things going that are worth going. And so with the recipes, you put in the work, you have to get the right ingredients, and there you go. We're a religion of hand-me-downs. And if we Catholics reject the hand-me-downs, and don't forget, this is a hand-me-down here. School's a hand-me-down. Knowledge and wisdom from your Catholic grandparents, that's hand-me-downs. If we Catholics reject that, we're done as Catholics. It has to keep going through us. Maybe we'll be a Catholic brand Christians, but we won't be Catholics unless we keep our hand-me-downs going. And so what was the hand-me-down in the gospel? It was what Jesus came to give. Has no one condemned you, he said. Then neither do I. Go, and from now on, do not sin anymore. His hand-me-down was a hand-me-down of mercy. And that saved that woman. She carried with her first, in her heart, the sure thought that she was going to be killed. And then she carried with her when she walked away the sure thought and the knowledge and the fact that she was saved through Jesus. See how it can get turned around in a soul? What you can carry with you in one moment from the next. That was a hand-me-down. If you believe in that, if you believe in any of the gospel stories, and if you remember them, if you have your kids absorb the gospel memories, they will be there to rise. Maybe 20 years down the road, you have the right ingredients where the gospel really does make sense, and it really is going to work when these things line up. When I need that kind of mercy. And there it is. The things that you carry with you can save you from the gospel. Catholics call it an examination of conscience. O'Brien's book, even though it's about Vietnam soldiers, it meant a lot to young people of today. It's still popular in high schools. Why? Because through their stories, indirectly, it caused young people to think about, what would I care if I had to go far away from home? Not just college, far away from home. What would I care that would give me any kind of hope or connection? And if my life was ever at risk, what am I carrying within me that will help me either pull out of the situation or give up or survive? What am I carrying with me in my soul? Cause young people to think about that. And if I survive a very hard experience, again, some teenagers have their own private Vietnam now. We don't send them over there, but they're here. Sometimes this is a war zone right now in our country, unfortunately. And if I survive beyond this experience, what will I carry with me? Brian said this in an interview. No trauma is totally erased from a person's mind. A random memory can trigger the trauma or can trigger your sources of healing, depending on all those things that you absorbed in life. Trigger the trauma. Do you have any sources of healing that you carry with you? That's what faith is for. St. Paul said, in our second reading today, all these other things are rubbish. He got rid and simplified his life, for he was taken possession of by Christ. And so, in our hearts and our minds and our souls, what is handed off to us, what is handed down to you and I through our Catholic faith, since we have the choice, absorb what the faith has to offer so you can carry it with you